Good to see you today. We're going to be looking in John chapter 4, the woman at the well, in our study this morning. Our hymn is called Jesus at the Well.
He sat by the well at the noontide, when all his disciples were gone, and there came a woman for water, and she saw that this stranger alone. Oh, listen, dear heart, while the Savior is talking to you by the way, for your love is tenderly pleading. Will you turn him in sorrow away? He spake in the flush of resentment, gave place to our gladsome surprise, while they caught by the welter of Tychar of the water which Jesus supplies. Oh, listen, dear heart, while the Savior is talking to you by the way, for your love is tenderly pleading. Will you turn him in sorrow away? Again at the noontide he waited for one whom he knoweth today still thirsts for his life-giving water. Will you turn him in sorrow away? Oh, listen, dear heart, while the Savior is talking to you by the way, for your love is tenderly pleading. Will you turn him in sorrow away?
Song did a lovely job of going through the account. We read of it in John chapter 4. When the Lord knew the Pharisees had heard that Jesus made and baptized more disciples than John, he left Judea, verse 3, departed again to Galilee, but he needed to go through Samaria. And as he goes there, of course, he's going to send the disciples away for food, and he's going to sit there at Jacob's well, and then the woman of Samaria comes. And as it happens, Jesus initiates the conversation, "Give me a drink." She says, "How is it that you, being a Jew, ask a drink from me, a Samaritan woman? For Jews have no dealings with Samaritans." And Jesus answered and said to her, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is who says to you, 'Give me a drink,' you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." But the woman's not going to understand that he's speaking about himself. She thinks, verse 15, speaking literally, "Sir, give me this water that I may not thirst, nor come here to draw." Jesus said to her, "Go call your husband and come here." The woman answered and said, "I have no husband." Jesus said to her, "You have well said, 'I have no husband,' for you have had 5 husbands, and the one whom you now have is not your husband, and that you spoke truly." The woman said to him, "Sir, I perceive that you are a prophet." And we'll pause right there. I think that is what the hymn is perhaps referring to. There at verse 2, he spake, and the flush of resentment gave place to a gladsome surprise. Things got real personal, didn't they? When Jesus says, "Go call your husband," and Jesus knew what he was doing. And she says, "I have no husband," and things got real personal very quickly. And that is how the gospel should be. The gospel should become personal. Sometimes people don't like that, though. When the gospel makes its way into a person's home and into a person's life, into a person's marriage, into how a person is raising their children, things along those lines. People don't like it when the Lord gets real personal, but that's what the Lord does, and that's what the Lord needs to do, because that's how we truly change. Now, what the woman does is she changes the subject. Verse 22, or verse 20, pardon me, after she says, I perceive you're a prophet, talks about our fathers worshipped on this mountain, and you Jews say that in Jerusalem is the place where one ought to worship. Jesus said to her, Woman, believe me, the hour is coming, and when you will neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem worship the Father. You worship what you do not know. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. The Samaritans worshipped Mount Gerizim, I believe is the name of it, going way back to the Old Testament times, but certainly not going to the old law. And so the Lord is teaching about worship. Well, sometimes people think, well, you can just worship however you want to. Well, if you can worship however you want to, then what's the point of this whole conversation that Jesus has with the woman at the well about worship, if it really doesn't matter how you worship? I think the conclusion is it does matter how we worship. And the Lord had a good bit to say how we worship. And so we worship in a way that is pleasing to Him. The Lord is also pointing at the change that is coming and is, transitioning that way. The hour is coming and now is when true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth, for the Father is seeking such to worship Him. So as He's talking, He says, the hour is coming when you will neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem worship the Father. And what He's saying is it's not going to be about location anymore. God is spirit, and those who worship Him must worship in spirit and truth. The woman said to Him, I know that Messiah is coming, who is called Christ, and when He comes, He will tell us all things. Jesus said to her, I who speak to you am He. He will tell us all things. Things that apply personally? Yes. Things that apply to our worship? Yes. Things that apply to the covenant that was going to change at the cross? Certainly. When the Messiah came, He revealed these things. And so we invite the Lord into our home. We invite the Lord into our houses of God, if you will. We invite the Lord, and He tells us all things, what is pleasing to Him. And that's ultimately how people change, how they live their lives, how they worship. Might consider it. Appreciate you. Hope you have a good day. Join us tomorrow for another portion of our Daily Praise.